What's up, guys? Specstar here today with the much anticipated fourth battle of the NPL tournament, going up here against Die. Now, a lot of you guys know the team from the team builder, which was out like a week ago, a little bit over a week ago. This video definitely should have been out sooner, but when I went to Cuba, I was definitely expecting to be able to use Wi-Fi there and be able to get this battle done, recorded, uploaded, but not how things turned out. No Wi-Fi there the whole goddamn week, so I was not able to get it done, but we got it now, and let's just hope it can live up to the expectations that week of waiting has brought for it. Even if you guys have seen the team builder, you may have forgotten some, and for you who did forget and you who haven't seen it, I should have the link to that in the description, as well as a link to my opponent's channel. And I'm facing Die here, and he is 2-0. I'm 2-1 plus 4. That should be right. I think I'm 2-1 plus 4, and he's 2-0 plus something here. He's got himself a team consisting of Mega Pinsir, Arcanine, Mew, Manaphy, Rotom Cut, and Cobalion. And as I was leading to, my team here is Latios, which is Specs. Got a few solid coverage hits, mostly looking to drop Draco Meteors. When I saw this matchup, I was licking my chops because his Draco Meteor switch-ins are Mew and Cobalion, and I'm Specs, so those are not switch-ins. Next up, I've got a Scarfed Heatran and a Scarfed Crocodile. Both of them are relatively unspeedy, if I'm not mistaken, which both of them looked... This is a more offensive matchup, I should clarify. I brought a lot of offense to this matchup, and he brought a good deal of offense, and I was kind of wanting to win the offense war here, which is a large part of why the dual Scarf with Heatran and Crocodile both looked to have the potential to compound kills. Crook is actually going to be Moxie instead of Intimidate, even though if you guys have been watching me, you know I generally prefer Intimidate. I love that ability. I think it's better usually, but I do have the potential to start racking up some kills with Crocodile here. Next up, I've got my Eel, and my team's very offensive, the team I drafted, so my Pinsir answers are not very great or very obvious, which is, I imagine, a large part of why it came. I had to get a little bit creative trying to deal with the Pinsir, so I've got my Rocky Helmet Electros here, physically defensive. I've got an Assault Vest Hitmonchan, just doing them spinning things, and a Calm Mind bulky Wish Pass Girafferic. Went a little bit more into the team recap in this video just because the team builder was a lot longer ago than I generally like them to be, and this will not be a pattern. You will not have that with the next game unless I decide to spontaneously go to another country without internet. I wonder if I could, maybe I'll meet a nice North Korean girl and we'll elope in North Korea. You never know. But if the next ones are spaced apart, either I was murdered after the team builder got uploaded, or I went to elope in North Korea. So that should explain that. And you know what? I might make some mistakes here with my commentary because this battle was a little bit ago for me too. So let's just go along with this and see how we do. He's going to lead off with Mew. I'm going to lead off with Heatran. Now, Mew facing a Heatran team very well could have Earthquake, very well could have Earth Power. Particularly Earth Power I was really thinking about. Didn't want to take a risk. If Mew couldn't touch Heatran, I would imagine it would switch out. If it could touch Heatran, it would most likely either click... It could potentially just click Rocks, which is a possibility. But I think more likely it would click a ground move or a fighting move, or switch out. So covering this, I'm going to make my play into Latios, and he will go for a Psychic, which is interesting. I guess he was potentially thinking about he was potentially thinking that Mew forced Heatran out, which it did. the alternative possibility is he's more of a defensive set, and he was just willing to sit there and try to whittle Heatran down, being able to roost up on it. So I take that note right off there. Here, like I talked about, I do not see Draco Meteor switch-ins. Hits Mew hard enough. If Mew takes it and roosts up, he's going to be able to force me out, but that will come with a good deal of information. Not all Mew sets are taking this hit, and I'm just going to go for my Draco here. And he will not switch out, and Latios is going to score a very big KO on Mew right off the bat. Mew is a Pokemon that I find to be very threatening against my team, although with the versatility that Mew possesses, that's a lot of teams. But it was one of the things I was most concerned about, and I was very happy to get rid of it turn 2. Threw a little fist pump in the air when I saw the thing drop. But he gets a good switch in here now that I'm dropped in my special attack. Brings in Cobalion, and I'm going to go Hitmonchan, and let me explain my reason for this. When it came to Cobalion, the thing I was most concerned about is a Dual Dance set with Rock Polish and Swords Dance, of course. If he did go for Rock Polish, then Hitmonchan did not ever let him continue the setup. Also, my Hitmonchan, if he didn't boost his attack, did take a pummeling. So I went into Hitmonchan to kind of scout out his Cobalion. If he got up rocks, I could have got rid of them. And this set basically just kind of let me feel out the Cobalion while not taking the risk of letting it get the Rock Polish that I was fairly concerned about. He may not be overly likely to have pummeling, because he most likely would want to have something to hit Venusaur, but it was something based on my team composition that I was concerned about, and I'm just not rolling the dice like that, not my style. So he goes for the Swords Dance here. My Hitmonchan, I don't have a switch in on this, as you guys can see. He goes for a Shattered Psyche here to make sure he takes out my Hitmonchan. I'm going to drop there, and this thing is a little bit of a threat, but he doesn't have a speed boost, so I can revenge it fairly comfortably. I'm going to go into my Heatran here, and I didn't want to give up this information, but with Cobalion being there the way it is, I had to. Basically, I just had to show him that my Heatran is Scarf here, and I'm going to want to click Overheat. I'm not going to play games with him potentially wanting to make an aggressive play or thinking that I'm trying to throw a bluff or something like that. So I will just safely click my Overheat as he goes out into his Arcanine, which will, beyond Munch on my Flash Fire, beyond Munch on my Overheat, is actually going to have Flash Fire. And because of the Flash Fire boost, I'm actually put in a tricky position where this Pokemon becomes hard to switch on. So that is going to look like pretty good prep on his behalf. He had the Arcanine, which could take my Heatran's hit and actually abuse it and become threatening. I had to go my Latios. Not the sexiest play I wanted to have to make, but I considered that for a Pokemon that may be able to potentially come in on this thing and be able to take a hit then KO it, Latios was one. If it did go down, I was able to put some pressure on him going out into my Crocodile, and basically nothing switched in on it too comfortably. So I'm going to bring in my Latios on his Arcanine here. He's going to miss a Toxic, which is nice for me, but unfortunate for him. Seeing Toxic there is a little bit encouraging to me, because I was fairly threatened by a Flash Fire offensive Arcanine. Definitely not one of the things I was most expecting to see in this matchup, and seeing Toxic makes me think it may be more defensive, which this Pokemon does do best, but, I'm definitely scared about the types of things that are going to be the most threatening to me. So, unfortunately, he's going to miss the Toxic here, and Laddie is in and able to click Draco. Arcanine's actually going to take it fairly goddamn well. So he's especially defensive Arcanine, which makes sense. It's going to be his Heatran answer. And I'm actually going to go back into Heatran as he poisons my Latios, Oh, I'm getting a little bit behind here. I went back in my Heatran because I did not... if he was going to leave Arcanine in, he'd probably click something like Extreme Speed, I would think. Next, most likely, since my Latios was already poisoned, I thought would either be... I guess it could be Morning Sun, but I thought more likely something like Flare Blitz. And Heatran covered both of those options pretty well. He's actually going to go into his Cobalion, and Heatran also covered that kind of switch. So here, I believe I'm actually just going to click Earth Power as he goes out into his Manaphy. Earth Power is going to cover both Arcanine and get important damage off of Cobalion, putting it in range of my Latios' Psychic, which is something I'm thinking about, also probably Draco. I go back into Latios as he clicks Surf. I was pretty sure that would be the move. He clicks Surf or Scald, maybe even Tail Glow, and Latios kind of covered all of those things. Tail Glow is the one I thought was most likely because Eel's there. I thought with Eel there, he wouldn't ever just want to click Ice Beam because if I go into Eel, he loses too much momentum. So I'm going to bring out my Lati here, take a little bit from Surf, but I've still got as much health as I need. Again, I'm going to click... Oh no, I'm actually clicking Thunderbolt there, right. I click Thunderbolt there because I didn't want this thing to be reduced and give Cobalion potentially a free setup, or even Pinsir a free setup, and that's kind of where my head was at there. Also just covers hitting Arcanine, taking it out. He goes out in Pinsir, and my Eelektross is just my always answer to this thing, my always first response. He goes for a Quick Attack, which was lovely for me. He'll take more damage than I will, and he's going to go into his Rotom. I'm going to click Volt Switch. Do very little to him, but I did more to the Pinsir on that turn, interestingly. Here I want to go into Giraffe. It's defensive, so against most Rotom sets it's able to set up, especially being immune to its best move here. So I just kind of wanted to feel him out, see how he responded to this, and see if I could potentially get a Calm Mind to pass here. And that's where my head's at. If I could pass a Calm Mind to Heatran, that looks like a potential win condition. If I get any kind of Calm Minds off to Heatran, I have the potential to be able to win by just clicking Flamethrower, because Manaphy does not do too much, not enough to Heatran when it's got that special defense boost. So he goes for a Discharge here as I click my Calm Mind. And here, I was just kind of wanting to feel him out, and I'm actually just going to click Wish. He is going to make the right play out into his Pinsir because I can't leave Giraffe in on this. I don't have an attack. I can't KO it. And B, I can't click Protect because if I don't want to let this Pokemon ever get a free Swords Dance, too dangerous. I'm in, it's not like a crazy good position, I'd say, but it's a little bit more advantageous to me enough where I don't really want to chance anything stupid. So I'm just going to switch out into my Eel here. If he does any damage, I get my Wish. He's actually going to Swords Dance, but I'm fully physically defensive, so that doesn't scare me too much. He goes for Return, does a measly 50, because Eel is a motherfucking boss. You ever see a +2 Return from Pinsir do that little? Eelektross, the best mon out there, taking it out with Thunderbolt. He'll bring in his Cobalion, and I'm actually just going to go ahead and click my Volt Switch, if I'm not mistaken. I do Volt Switch. Eelektross, the boss, is going to eat that close combat from him, and I'm able to bring in my Lati. Click Psychic. He doesn't have a switch into this at all. And the Cobalion's going to go down. So we'll see what his Latios response is here. He is going to bring in his Rotom Mow. I'm imagining this in Scarf. I'm going to go to my Giraffe. At this point, Giraffe doesn't really have much of a role for my team. I was actually clicking Baton Pass here. I thought he was just going to take me out with the next Discharge, but if he ever did switch out, which is the scenario where I'm able to click an attack, then in that only scenario where I can click an attack, Baton Pass was the move I would have wanted to click. So I'm going to click that there, and as he goes out to Manaphy, the Beast Latios is back in, and it is Draco Meteor time. No, it's psychic time. Yeah. This battle was a little bit ago, so sorry. I did think about clicking Draco Meteor. I instead clicked Psychic because I just wanted the safe damage. At this point, it's 5-2. I just wanted to play to the scenario where I have a 100% chance of winning this game. And if I click Draco Meteor, there was a scenario where I missed a few, and that is not 100. I felt like by clicking Psychic, I could secure a 100% win. I'll get in range of my Scarf Revenge Killers with the Psychic, and that's why I am going to click my Psychic there. So, Laddie's going to go down there. I'm going to bring in my Crocodile here. Just click Knock Off. Heatran would have had to lock in Earth Power, and I didn't want to create any potential for Rotom shenanigans, like some kind of sub Pain Split or whatever. Again, I'm just playing towards 100. I don't want to create a scenario where any kind of crazy Rotom can come in and turn this around. So I didn't want Heatran to lock into Earth Power, the move that would give Rotom a free turn. I'm instead going to go into Crocodile, which can click Knock Off on Manaphy and not let Rotom come in. I will knock off the Manaphy. My Crocodile is Scarf, but it's not full speed, so if Rotom is Scarf like I suspect, it will be able to outspeed me. He will outspeed me, but he is locked into a Leaf Storm, and I've got my friend Heatran who takes those quite comfortably, and I've also got Giraffe Rig, and I spoke to him after this game, and I told him that I was very tempted. I wanted to get Giraffe Rig to take out the Rotom, but my Giraffe Rig didn't have an attack, so if I wanted Giraffe Rig to take out the Rotom, I would have had to just sit there stalling him out with Sap Sipper until he ran out of Leaf Storms and got struggled KO'd. And as much as I wanted to get a Giraffe Rig KO for you guys, I got respect for my opponent. I didn't want to be a dick to him and prolong the game longer than it had to be when it was finished, so I just went into Heatran to wrap it up with Flamethrower, and I'm going to win this game 3-0. We're going to see a lot of shine in this game from Latios, definitely the MVP of my team in this. Heatran came in clutch in the end after it made Arcanine a threat early game. It redeemed itself. Electros managed to be my one switch into a very threatening Pokemon, and it did that job greatly. So that's going to be my recap for the game. Again, here I am 3-1 plus 7. Now, this comes from the future times, so I guess I can let you guys know what the scenario is for my last battle. My last battle, I'm going up against Psych. I should have a team builder for that up in not too long, and then the battle shortly after, so I shouldn't have you guys waiting for that too long. And in that battle, to advance to the next round of the tournament, I need to lose 2-0 or by less. If I lose 3-0, I'm not advancing. If I lose 2-0, I do advance. Haven't played this game yet, so I got no spoilers. You can't read my poker face to get information here because I do not have the information on how that went. But I need to not get 3-0'd. Of course, I want to play to win. I want to go 4-1 and be the top dog in my pool. That's my goal. So I'm going to play that game to win. I'm not going to play it to not lose bad enough. But in the end game, it could very well be a scenario that I'm thinking about where I want to get the differential right, and I may at some point need to think about maybe what gives me a chance to win versus what secures me advancing. You know, I just try to play it smart. There may be something like that, there may not. We'll see how it goes, but wish me luck, my friends. I don't have too much naturally, so I will take your wishes of luck if you've got them. And this video, oh shit, I've been recording this forever. If you guys have watched this whole thing, you the real MVP. I'm not normally this long in the video, but I did a little extra explaining with the team and about the whole situation and everything like that. So, hope you guys don't mind the extra length. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching. Even if it wasn't the whole time, I still love you guys who tuned in and skipped to the end or whatever. But thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night.